Hello everyone, this is an overview of the stoichiometry test. This test is just like all the other tests, except that the questions are different. So it may not match your test, but the number of steps per question will be the same. All right, in stoichiometry, there are 3 steps that you need to consider for every question. You may not always have to do all 3, but you got to consider them. Those are the 3 steps: change to moles, then use the mole ratio, and change to desired units. Just a quick word about why you need to change to moles. Every single problem in stoichiometry will use the mole ratio. But before you can use a mole ratio, you need to find out how many moles of what you're working with, because moles measure numbers of things. The mole ratio deals with numbers of things. So in a chemical equation, the coefficients tell you relationships between numbers of things. So 4 react with 3, 8 would react with 6, 12 would react with 9, and so on. So in this case, we've got 320 grams of iron 3 oxide. We would need to change that to moles. So to do that, I forgot to write the word gram in, you'd put grams of Fe2O3 on the bottom so that they cancel out. Then you put moles on the top. So this is the first step, changing to moles. You may remember that 1 always goes with moles, except when we're talking about the mole ratio. So 1 mole of iron 3 oxide is on 160 grams. Symbol for iron 3 oxide is Fe2O3. All right, so it's 160 grams. Then, now we've got moles. That's, in case you're doing it in your head, it's 2 moles. All right, now we're looking to put iron 3 oxide on the bottom. And what unit would be with that would be moles. On the top, you put what you're looking for. And up here it says how many grams of oxygen. So we're going to put moles of oxygen first, because this is the second step, the mole ratio. In the mole ratio, you're always going to have moles over moles. And you need to say what they are, what they're moles of. Oh, shoot. Now I made a mistake. Let me erase this. And that's moles of O2, because that's what you're looking for, moles of O2. So how many grams of oxygen? So it turns out in this equation that there are 3 moles of oxygen. See that 3 right there? For every 4 moles of iron. So we'd put a 3 over a 4. Then we would have 32. Well, first of all, you put moles down here. You put grams of oxygen on the top. And there'd be 32 grams for every 1 mole. I get 32 by using the formula weight of oxygen, 16 times 2. Then to do the math, you multiply across the top and divide across the bottom. When you do that, so in other words, it's 320 times 1 times 3 times 32. Once again, 320 times 1 times 3 times 32. Then divide by 160 and divide again by 4. All right, so your final answer will be 48 grams. And that's the answer to question number 1. I'm going to double check my math on a calculator, because I did that in my head. And I was right, 48 grams. Now question 2. In question 2, we want to know, we have 16 moles of iron 3 sulfate. Iron 3 sulfate is the Fe2 SO43. Do we need to do the first step, change to moles? The answer is no, because it's already in moles. So I'm going to put moles of Fe2O3 on the Fe2SO43, sorry, on the bottom. And on the top, I'm going to put moles of what I'm looking for, which is magnesium sulfate. It says right here you want to look for grams of magnesium sulfate, but before you can find grams, you have to find moles. So the number of moles of magnesium sulfate there's a 3 in the equation, and the iron sulfate, there's a 1. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and do another step, and I'll put it down here so it cancels out nicely. I was a little sloppy here. Be sure you put in your unit. So then down here, the reason, by the way, that I knew that I didn't put that unit in is I looked to see what was up here so I could know what goes down here. And I didn't have it written up there. So that would be moles of MgSO4 on the bottom and grams of MgSO4 on the top. So now we need to find out what the weight of magnesium sulfate is. So if I add the weights together, I get 120. I'm going to double check my math. 64 for the oxygens plus 32 for the sulfur plus 24 for the magnesium. Yes. So I get 120 grams for every 1 mole. So that's going to be a fairly significant number of grams because we have 16 times 3 is 48 times 120. It's 5,760 grams. So my final answer here, 5,760 grams of MgSO4. All right, so once again, did I need to change to moles? No, because it was already in moles. Now let's take a look at this one. We have 500 grams of NH4NO3. Are we going to need to change to moles? This is step 1. Remember step 1? Change to moles. Up here, change to moles. So do we need to do that here? Yes, because it's in grams. So we're going to put grams of NH4NO3 on the bottom. On the top, we put moles of NH4NO3. Let's go ahead and put the units in, and we'll come back and do the numbers. So whatever units here goes down here, so that'd be moles of NH4NO3. And the question asks us for how many moles of lead-4 nitrate. So that'd be moles of PbNO3 parentheses 4. All right, so now we need to find the weights. Or put the numbers in. We know that 1 mole is some number of grams. We find the grams by adding up the numbers. So we would have, I'm going to write this down this time. So 14, 4 times 1, 14, 16 times 3. So if I add all those together, I get 80. So there are 80 grams of ammonium nitrate per mole. Then in front of the lead-4 nitrate, we see a 1, or nothing really, but it's an implied 1. Then moles of NH4NO3, wow, it's a 12. Oops, I had to back up. I made a mistake. We see a 3. In front of the lead-4 nitrate, there's a 3. That was my fault. So this 3 here comes from there. That 3 right there. Okay, so I have 500 times 3 divided by 80 divided by 12. My final answer is 1.56 moles of lead-4 nitrate. All right, that's the end of the first side of this test. And once again, your test is going to be different probably because there were 20 different versions, but the number of steps for each problem is the same. So be sure that you understand how to apply this to your test. All right, once again, did I need to change the moles to begin with? Yes, because I was given grams. Did I need to use the mole ratio? Always. Did I need then to change to grams again? No, because the question only asked for how many moles, didn't ask for how many grams. All right, I'm going to stop this movie at this point, and then we'll do another one for the second side of the test, the back side.